In our town, we know what we need. That's why at Bianchi Honda, we sell more CRVs than any other dealership sells all their vehicles combined. We are an SUV town, choosing the #1 rated SUV brand. Lease the 2019 CRV LX all-wheel drive for only $199 per month for 36 months. With over 2 million customers served, around here, we Honda.
Welcome back. Time now for the Gannon Lady Nights Coaches Show. He is the head coach, Jim Brunelli, and fresh off a win.
Yeah, man, that's good to hear.
79-65 over Seton Hill. They were 10-4 going into the contest, and a really good team. And you could tell because in the waning moments, you still were in control, but they weren't going anywhere.
No, they fought. Every team in this league is going to fight, and we knew they were going to have another run in them, and we just had to withstand them and then make a few shots and keep them at bay a little bit. I think they cut it to 9 with like a minute 20-something left in the fourth, and then we, hit some shots.
UPJ was the game before that, and I only bring that up because that's another great, I would say, great team. 8-7, 4-3 in the PSAC. They're going to give it their all. You go down 68-61, but that was one good half. And then in Seton Hill, you were able to put together two.
Yeah, no, UPJ, their record doesn't show what type of team they are. I think at the time we played them, they were one above 500, that type of deal. But they had something that no other team in the country had going into our game, and they had two of their players averaging 20 points or more. And that just says a lot about a team that they have two kids that you really gotta be ready for. And the thing is, one was a perimeter player and the other one was a post player. So it's not like you can just, hey, we're gonna double everything, we're gonna come off of everybody, or we're just gonna tighten up and let them loot. You can't do that when they have a balanced attack like that. And that's what we're trying to do, is get a balanced attack. And on Saturday down at Seton Hill, you saw a well-balanced attack. We had Nicole Lakava's 29 points for something very smooth and kind of unassuming. You know what I mean? Unless you were watching, her scoreboard up there, you wouldn't have known it was 29 points. But man, she was just knocking down everything and anything.
She wasn't forcing things either.
No.
And that's a credit to those around her as well.
Yeah, no, they got her the ball, and she knocked down, and she did it in a wide variety. She scored a lot of post moves. She made a few moves across the lane, and then she hit some 15 to 12 to 15 foot short corner shots, and then she knocked in a few free throws. So she did a little bit of everything, and then she grabbed 12 rebounds. So that's huge, and 5 of them were offensive and had some putbacks. And then you have someone like Maggie Mitchell. Not Maggie. We were just talking about Maggie Mitchell.
A common misconception here, and
we'll clear it up
I fell victim to this. Maggie, Sydney, not related.
No related.
Not near the same area, and there's probably a lot of people with the last name Mitchell out there. So.
Right. Ohio's Maggie, and Sydney's from Baltimore.
You're forgiven.
I know their crew down at Seton Hill was talking about how they're sisters and how they battled each other, but Sydney had a tremendous day. A couple here, one there, and she has a triple-double. She had 8 rebounds, 11 points, and 9 assists. So that'd be a tremendous night for her. And then, like I said down there, Lauren Tavis was very assertive in this game and started off offensive-minded, which we liked. And she got 8 points, and then Chelsea Rourke was real close to scoring in double figures with 9. And then you have Tori coming off the bench and pumping in 7 and grabbing 7 rebounds, which led her to another Rookie of the Week.
How about that?
Which makes her, I think that's her 3rd for the season.
All but one. I thought she showed growth in the UPJ game as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think in that game she had a double.
13 points. So what'd she have?
I think she had 15 points, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it was 15.
Oh yeah, in just 9 minutes she had 13 and 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was in 20. Oh yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah. No, so really proud of those guys, and we had some people step up, and that's the nice thing, is having a team that's capable of doing that. And she had 15 and 7.
15 and 7, close.
Okay. But it earned her enough to get, and she's been putting in the work.
That's all but one.
Yeah.
impressive.
Well, I think in the article it said they're at we had 6 of 8 weeks. So, yeah. Oh well.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
not
good.
too bad.
Have you had freshmen as impressive as that before?
Not
Multiple?
not since I've been here.
Wow.
We've had some freshmen, but not as many this year.
It's impressive.
So real happy about that. That means those guys are starting to get comfortable and starting to play and get some good looks at the basket and do some things on the defensive end as well that'll lead to some easy scores for us.
When Nicole Lacava's going like that, do you have to belabor the point to get her the basketball, or did that come up? How do you?
No, not really. I mean, it's not that we run plays for her, it's one of those things where if we feel we need to run plays for Nicole. We need to get her touches. We need to get her some easy buckets. I say easy buckets. Get her the ball so she can get some scores. But then just through the course of the game, kids were finding her. And a couple of our ball screen type offense, she was either rolling and they were getting the ball, or they were driving and kicking her. She would step out to the short corner and she would knock down a shot. We run a little bit of everything, and we always try to go for a bounce attack. We try to get some inside looks, try to get some outside looks, and I was really proud of what we shot for that game. From everything, from the field, from the 3-point line, and then from the free throw line, I was really happy with that. And we kept our turnovers low. We got loose there a little bit in the late third, early fourth, and had quite a few back-to-back turnovers that I wasn't really happy with. But the ladies adjusted and held on and just kept pushing the issue and got some easy scores to extend the lead.
When the turnover, it seems like when they have a good game and they're going to limit turnovers, the plays, they're snappy. Everything's just working a little bit better. It's more well-oiled, if you will.
Yeah.
Is it that simple?
I don't want to say it's that simple, but when you turn over the ball, it should sting a little bit. I'm not saying that it should carry into the next 3 or 4 plays,
right?
But you should be upset if you turn over the ball. And I think the less you do that, the more energy you have, the more fun you're having.
That's what it was Saturday.
Yeah, and the cohesiveness. And I think that's all important. When you're not making plays or you're giving the other team the ball back, that's disappointing, and it should be. And it's not fun. And so our big thing the night before was just talking about just getting back to having fun. Because we were playing hard, the intensity was there. I can't think of a game yet this year where I felt our kids weren't giving it their all. They play hard. I just think when you lose and you're in games and you're close and you lose some games, it gets frustrating, and you're turning over the ball and it gets frustrating, and that takes the fun away. And the coaches are on you. You have players that are frustrated and coaches that are frustrated. And we just had to get them back to having fun and seeked out a lot of wisdom from some mentors of mine, just making calls and trying to do some things. And had a real good buddy of mine talk to me, and he was at the game and just said, man, it looks like you guys are playing hard. It's just the fun part didn't seem there, and we had a way to get that back, and we did.
Good stuff. Saturday.
Now we just got to keep it.
It looked fun. Well, for one thing, I want to say Boston McKinney's back, and is she 100%? Because she looked pretty good Saturday.
Yeah. I think now it's just getting used. When you've been off and you haven't trusted completely your ankle, you take shots differently. And she's a perimeter player, and she needs to be able to be explosive and be able to stop and pop and shoot the 3. Now that I think she has her legs under her, I think things will be better for her.
She facilitated well. It got to a point late in the game, though. We talked about that skip pass, that long-distance skip pass. So I think the only reason I bring that back up, and it's a young player, so she'll hopefully work to remove that from her arsenal. There may be a time and a place to force that issue, right?
Right.
In that case, you're up, you're trying to hold on to a lead. I thought that was a really big moment for you to step in and be a coach.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, in the first half she tried one and it got taken away. And then in the second half she just got it a little bit higher. I think she had a better look,
Right.
I thought in the first half she tried to thread the needle a little bit too much. And this one she just had to get it over some fingers, and she did. Still, like I told her, I said, hey, we're glad it got through, But at that time, it's not something that you need. You don't need a knockout punch when you're already up 15. You just need to. You were at the game. There wasn't much they could do when we got into the half court.
You're thinking just dribble it into the half court?
Just dribble it into half court and then run our sets because we were scoring at will. I mean, we shot, what did we shoot for the game? 53% from the field, 38 from the three. So it's not like they were stopping us a whole lot, and that's against a good team. So we were getting a lot of good looks from any of our offenses. So my thing is, hey, why take a chance, especially late in that time when they were kind of getting a run? And that's what we did. Hey, yeah, we scored on that one. Then the next couple times we brought it down. We got people some looks. We got some simple baskets. And a couple kids went to the free throw line, knocked down some free throws. So, it's a learning thing. Learning what you can do, learning what you shouldn't do. And time and score is important.
Yeah, and when you're winning, I would think it's easier to teach those lessons, or at least they're probably received better. So it helps out. You're getting back to your winning ways. Shooting was remarkable on Saturday. But how receptive are the kids to what the coaching staff is bringing right now?
No, they have been. They have been all season, And like I said, the season is going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be a marathon. And I always talk to the team about, hey, there's going to be a point when you stop listening, and hopefully that's later than sooner. There's a difference between listening and hearing. Everybody on my team hears me, because sometimes I have to raise my voice. But the listening part is where it's at, and sometimes when you harp on things so much, it kind of gets like it's background noise, so you hear it, but you're not taking
and the emotions of losing are factored in there as well.
Yeah.
If it was, in the midst of a loss.
Yeah, and then what's tough is in us, we never. I'm not dating you as my age, but I never had to deal with the social media aspect.
Yeah.
The people, there are some people out there that are just rude to. I watch how people do it with other professionals or college players about how they get on there and tell them how bad they are and all this other stuff. We never had that.
It's brutal. Yeah.
They do it to everybody.
Yeah.
And and then on top of all that, you have boyfriends, girlfriends, parents, aunts, uncles, friends, coaches, AAU coaches that are all talking, but they're not all at our practice. They're not all trying to figure out what we're trying to do. They're from a distance saying, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and it may not always jive with what's happening, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday when we practice. So that's a lot of stuff going on that these athletes, these student athletes, have to filter, know who to listen to, know who, we just talk about, hey, in our circle, our group, man, those are the ones you should be listening to. You know what I mean? When it's talking about the game of basketball.
Well, and it seems like your teams, they grow together as teammates, too. So, I mean, that's all part of it. And that's part of life. It's I can tell my coworkers that we're athletes. Mm-hmm. I can. And I don't even need to elaborate as to how, but you're different as employees down the road. It's bigger than just basketball. So it's pretty simple. Usually you can tell who the athletes are and who they aren't. I was just saying before you came in, Antonio Brown unfollowed the Pittsburgh Steelers on Twitter today. Yeah. That's news. That's what we've talked about for 20 minutes at a time today. Yeah. So it's all craziness. Hey, Edinboro, they're following you on Twitter, Coach. But believe it or not. So I only say that because what a familiar opponent, and you get them on Wednesday.
Yeah,
I don't expect you to reveal the whole game plan here. But
no, they're tough. They have some really good players back. They're a senior-laden team. Roston, Walton. I know I'm missing one there. Brown. I mean, Jan. They're very tough. Been watching film. They do a lot of good things. They're finding ways to win. Last couple games they've been down, and you can tell their senior leadership, their upperclassmen, are getting it done for them. They're not always shooting the greatest, but man, when you have kids that can just make plays at the end, you always have a chance. And they limit a lot of their turnovers. But they're a tough team. They get after it on both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. We're going to have our hands full. We're preparing for them now, and we're going to, give it our best and go after them.
I wonder how your team, how you feel they've defended this year as well. We often talk about the turnovers and stuff like that, but obviously you're big on defense as well.
Yeah, no, big on defense. I think when you look at stats, and sometimes stats can be deceiving in a sense, and I'm big on stats, but you know, there's theories out there if you can score it at 40, 44, 45, and you can hold your teams to 38, 37, 36, and up until the last couple games we were holding our teams under 38% shooting, and that doesn't mean you're going to win more, because obviously we were holding teams under that we weren't, but you're giving the ball away 25, 27, 28 times a game. I feel at times our defense, if you're putting a 40-minute game together, we've been really close to that 30, 35 mark. And then there's been times where we've only done it 25 minutes. And in the rest of that time, our defense has been lacking. Or we try to mix it up and we don't cover this, we don't cover that. But overall, I'm happy. I think it's a work in progress still. I think we're getting better at it. We have a lot of new, like I said, we have a lot of new kids, and I know we're 16 games into the season or whatever we are. And they should know it by now, but it takes a while to get these kids that are new to learn a defensive system and stay committed to it. Because everybody plays something different in high school. Some people play zone. Some people play man-to-man and they force middle. Some people, if you've been trained that way, it takes a little while to untrain them and then train them back. And now our big thing is, hey, man, the big thing is just keep that person who has the ball in front of you. Don't get beat. We have one person guarding the ball and 4 other players helping, and that's what we need to have. And then hard shots, one shot.
And of course, that's what it'll take if you're going to beat Edinboro on Wednesday night. So gotta love it. For us fans to have great basketball teams in the same area is fun. You gotta be pulling your hair out a little bit.
Hey, listen. Everybody knows the PSAC is one of the strongest in the country as a conference, and especially for basketball. And it's a battle each and every night. There's no gimmies. There's no anything like that, and I wouldn't want it that way.
I'm wondering, what coaches do you look up to in the D1 ranks in women's basketball?
Oh, Sundays are great days. Yesterday with watching our film and just watching different coaches, I got to see a little bit of UConn's game yesterday, Tennessee's game yesterday. Some SEC with Ole Miss knocked off Kentucky. Watched that game, and Coach Yo there at Ole Miss. There's a lot. I kind of try to, one thing about our profession, and I think it's kind of similar if you look at football where they have plays and different things, we steal a lot. So if I see something, I have a little note. My wife gets upset with me because I keep it underneath the one end table. It's a little book. It has quartz on it. So if I'm watching a game, and the greatest thing now is, in the last several years you have the DVR and you're able to rewind live television. Before we just had to memorize and be like, oh crap, I hope I have that on film somewhere.
Yeah.
Now you can just rewind, you see an out of bounds play, a sideline play, or just like a quick hitter, and it doesn't matter if it's from NBA to D1 men's, D1 women's, or we get some stations that broadcast some D2 stuff. So I try to watch a little bit of everything, and if I see something that I like, I write it down and draw it up and see if I can stick it in somewhere.
Could you put that, certain plays, can you put in like a week for the next game? Can it be that quick?
Oh yeah, if I think that it's something that could benefit us, absolutely. Put it in that next day. I saw something I talked to, and then some of my mentors that I've worked with are still coaching, so I pick their brains. Jody Kest, I talk to her on a weekly basis. I'll call down to different coaches that I've worked for and just say, hey, do you have an out of bounds play? Do you have something for this? Do you have something for that? And they've always been gracious and said, hey, yeah, we'll get you something. So,
always interesting what happens behind the scenes, because we just see on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but there's a lot more than meets the eye, and to a point I think there's different schools of thought. Some coaches, they don't want to see what any other team is doing, and then there's others that it's part balance, because you're just sitting down to watch basketball, and then it's part your due diligence to learn where the sport's going.
Yeah, I always try to tell our staff, be students of the game. I always try to tell our players, hey, if the game's on and you have time to watch it, learn something from it.
Cool.
Whether it's from a player that pick out a player and watch them. Technology today, you can get on and Google certain players and see all their mixtapes, or just not necessarily mixtapes, but all their clips put together. And our editing, our film exchange, we can do that. We can go, and if you want to watch Katie Lou from UConn, you can watch every time she touched the ball.
Did you used to have to meet people on an interstate in the middle of the
Yeah.
night to exchange tape
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Before it went live to internet, I remember we'd drive, halfway to do a film exchange if we needed it that night.
Yep.
And now the good thing was I was always in a position where I never really had to do that. It was someone below me.
Right.
And then they'd get it back to us. But as head coaches, I remember being down and we had to do a film exchange with like Limestone. And we'd meet halfway between Anderson and where they were at, and
Wow.
needed a quick fill or whatever it was. Hey, this one right off 85? Yeah, we'll meet you there. Then we'd exchange film and go our own separate
See, that
ways.
wouldn't work in Erie because it's too much dang snow all the time.
Right. But no, I remember doing all that and having to get game tape. And it's changed a lot, but for the better.
5:30 p.m. It'll be out at Macomb Field House.
Yep.
The Lady Knights taking on the Fighting Scots, and it'll be right here on Fox Sports Radio, 1330 a.m. The Fan. This has been the Gannon Lady Knights Coaches Show. Coach, good luck this week.
Thank you, sir.